Tries one.
On the power play, Sakic fakes it, takes it, scores! Joe Sakic! Power play goal!
Welcome, everybody. We are back. The international break is over.
Thank God.
I couldn't be more excited that the Prem is back on Saturday. We got Leeds. We got Arsenal. We got plenty to talk about before we even get into Leeds and Arsenal. I got my boy Dallas here, Walsh Gunner. Tell us what's up, man. How you doing?
Well, I am doing a lot better than I have the last couple of weeks. I think I got a little cold coming on, but I'm going to get over that soon enough. But other than that, man, life's good. Can't complain. Spurs are in complete disarray, and we're still top of the league.
Oh, isn't this great? Remember this time last year when we were sweating because we just had a feeling that we were going to drop it, and then then we went to Shite Hart Lane and got it handed to us. It's an amazing thing that 365 days can do, right? Can't believe it.
Amazing, yeah, it's amazing what a year can do, right? I mean, before I was wondering if I wanted to get out of bed at 6:30 in the morning to watch what we were putting out on the pitch every weekend, but now it's kind of like, hey. I'm going to get up in the morning because I think we're going to win. 8 points up, and I'm pretty confident that we can pull this out.
Yeah, no, I have absolutely no worries about our match coming up here on Saturday. But before we get into the match on Saturday, I wanted to talk about what was in the title. I wanted to talk because a lot of people have been talking about this, but I want to talk about Antonio Conte's departure from Spurs before we start talking about top of the league Arsenal.
Right.
I have my own thoughts about that fucking dumpster fire down the road from the top of the league. But Dallas, I'd like to hear what you have to say about the entire situation going on. And I also want to get to a poll that I posted on my chat or on my YouTube timeline too, and share the results of that. But what do you think about the current situation down at Tottenham?
I'm loving every second of it. I got to admit, I love it when the most hype, delusional fan base and club gets brought back down to earth, and they literally have no direction. Harry Kane. Look at the decisions Harry Kane's made over the last year and a half, right? So he was pretty much city bound for a big fee for Spurs. And then all of a sudden, Conte comes off the plane, fresh in his Dolce Gabbana and his toupee, and says, Harry Kane, where do you think you're going? I need you to one more time to get us that trophy push that we know is going to happen this season. And Harry Kane goes, okay. And he signed on the dotted line. Your fault, Harry Kane. And I hope every Spurs fan is watching this. It's his fault you're in the position you are now because he's been there for almost 10 years and he has an Audi Cup. This goes way beyond Conte, TJ. Way beyond Conte. It goes to Levy, the other guy. Daniel Levy's the huge problem there. And Conte's football is a bit outdated. I don't know of a time when Conte even built a team, TJ. Every team he's gone to has been, have world-class talent on it. Kind of, a bit Jose Mourinho-ish, minus his Chelsea days. Inter Milan, Mourinho had a built team. Madrid, he obviously had a built team. Conte had a built team at Chelsea, Juve. And I think he's even spent some time in Inter,
Right. He wanted Inter too, by the way. He did win a trophy at Inter.
Yeah, for sure. I can't keep all the Italian coaches, in my head of what team they're going. Juve, Inter Milan, one to the next. But the fact of the matter is the real issue is Harry Kane and his decision-making. Now, when you act like a kindergartner and look kind of like a kindergartner with long hair, and you talk like a kindergartner, you get on a team that is made up of just semi-good talent. The best player they've had in a long time was Lucas Moura, right? Let's be real. So other than that, Spurs, they're going to get Nagelsmann, which I think is a decent signing for a manager. Probably not great.
Yeah.
Again, he's just going to become a subservient puppet to Daniel Levy. And, to say Conte didn't get back, I don't believe that either. They brought Kulusevski in. They brought that other dumbass in midfield.
Basuma.
Basuma and what's the other guy? I want to say Bentancur or something like that.
Bentancur has actually been, I think has been their best player, if you can name a best player. He's been their best player in the midfield. But
when he's not injured, right?
Yeah.
Højbjerg, is he really that good? Not really. Son is kind of out of it. They got a lot of rebuilding to do, and they have no real substance behind them as a club like we do for any top talent to want to go there. I don't think they're going to get top 4 this season, especially if they don't replace, Conte with someone good. I don't think this guy they have in there now is anything to talk about. It's just a shit show from top to bottom, TJ. But I revel in every minute of it. So again, I think it goes back to Harry Kane and his decision making.
It makes me so happy, especially with the news that just broke today about their Paratici, their sporting director.
Mm-hmm.
He was hired over from the Italian crime family, La Cosa Nostra, that is Juventus Football Club.
Right.
And now he has gotten a full FIFA ban.
Right.
The train's going by. A full FIFA ban worldwide.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
that criminal's going to jail.
Right.
You can tell that's coming down the pipe. And then they got who do they got at manager? They got Ryan Mason and that other Italian guy. I don't even remember. It's like the Italian job over there. They just keep rotating him in. And that guy was on Conte's staff too. So he not to keep making Godfather references, but I wouldn't be surprised if Conte's going to put a horse head in his bed. He just was just like, no, I'll stay behind and take your job, whatever.
Yeah.
It's where I think the problem is, Dallas, it begins and ends at Enoch and Levy.
For sure. It's their decision making. They
refused. Yeah. So they refused. So Spurs fans should have known that this was all going downhill after they fired Pochettino. After they fired Pochettino, they go and get Jose Mourinho. They fire him right as he was about to win a League Cup. Their league position really hasn't changed all that much. They make top 4 consistently, or at least make Europe consistently.
Yeah.
But they don't win anything.
Right.
When they're about to win something, a League Cup, whether you want to call that a Mickey Mouse Cup or not, they fire Mourinho and bring in somebody else.
Right.
So is Daniel Levy actually in this to win anything, or is he just in it to make money? I think it's the latter.
It's starting to look that way. Yeah.
You can only judge based off. You can only predict future outcomes by past behaviors, right?
True.
And I don't think whoever they bring in is going to be fully backed by this ownership. Period. You could bring in Nagelsmann. You could bring back Poch. You could bring in freaking who else? Who else were they talking? Zidane. Zidane was flying around there. If you think Zidane's going to Spurs, it's just like, what do you expect? What are you hoping to sign him to your midfield? He's never going to manage you. I just think it's hilarious that some of these rumors that go around. But the beginning and the end of Spurs trouble are Daniel and Levy. The only reason that he still has a job at that club is because he is burrowed in like a little mole. Him and Enoch. Enoch owns that stadium. Enoch, even if Enoch sells the club is going to have to lease Tottenham Hotspur Stadium back to Spurs in order for them to play games at it.
Right. Very
So
strange.
they have a huge problem there because they will not, like, even if they hire a manager, Levy is not going to have the patience to put up with like a couple of ninth place mid-table finishes
Right.
it takes to build a solid foundation like Arsenal did. Obviously, we wanted Arteta out. We were, you know, the royal Arsenal supporters were, you know, protesting and getting all on the Kroenke's case, and then all of a sudden we turned it around. I mean, you know, no matter what you say, winning solves all problems, and we are seeing the fruits of that patience. I don't think we had any patience, but the Kroenkes did. So to wrap up my point, until Tottenham get serious, and by Tottenham I mean Levy, because Tottenham is Levy, Levy is Tottenham, about getting a manager in there that can actually start a culture and set a standard and move out the Eric Dyers, move out the, you know, you said Mora, but Mora has outstayed his welcome there. I mean, he's still in the team, but he just rides bench. Yeah, Sanchez, like, come on.
It all comes from, obviously, from, like you said, bad ownership. Well, bad ownership, bad management, bad recruiting. It just looked like a hodgepodge of players thrown together and given some, you know, slight instructions, and then figure out what to do with themselves out there as one unit, which it just, you know, everything's just jointed. The football's not good. You know, it's not good to watch. You know, back with the sponsorship deals and so forth with ENIC, you know, that's something I've, you know, seen a little bit about. You talk about, of course, Jez and our community here, but I haven't dived too much into that. I just think that they're just bad from top to bottom, and they need a striker like we have in Jesus as a center forward striker, right? Who has leadership and a winning pedigree behind them. You know, there's out on the pitch, there's no real leadership. Yeah, Harry Kane scoring goals, that's great. I mean, there's a lot of penalties in there. He's never really won. Obviously, he's never won an important trophy. So I think there's a lack of leadership even on the pitch for Tottenham. And again, it comes to just kind of buying a bunch of stopgap players and then having a bunch of stopgap managers now come in on the back end, right? Because Pochettino was there for so long. And then Conte, you know, he's only had 18 months, if not even that, right? He's got fired before his contract was done. Esposito was in there, you know, which I think sometimes we forget about. The coach from Wolves, he came in, he was sacked right away because they were, I think, 17th or 18th.
Right.
A couple season or two ago. It's fun to watch, and I'm not sad about it. Because, again, I think our biggest rivals in London are by far is Chelsea. You know, with us chasing them for their last, you know, bit of trophy haul over the last 12, 15 years. You know, since 2010, you know, they've been kind of the dominant team, possibly, you know, around the world in some cases, some people would argue. But except for Real Madrid, of course. Barcelona, I mean, the third team there is probably Chelsea, European-wide. But anyway, I just think that it's just a glorious thing, man. We're top of the league. They're in shambles. This is what we've wanted. But to keep stressing our points like we've talked about before is we don't just want to win this season. We want to progress to the next and the next and the next, right? So let's have all the fun we can come May. Let's drink until we can't stand up. But, you know, let's see what happens this summer, right? Because I have a feeling that there's going to be a couple players that we may lose, you know, or we may, you know, demote down to the bench in place of others. But at least we're not Tottenham.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, and just some final thoughts on Tottenham, you know, and I go on some Tottenham pirate channels sometimes just because I like talking with those guys, Stell and Danny and those guys over at Tottenham Way, they are awesome guys.
Mhm.
And they look at Arsenal as like, this is who we want to be. This is the formula that we want to follow. Not all of them, but some of them have mentioned that.
Right.
And I go, okay, well, I hope you have the patience for that because it took a while. So we'll see. We'll see, But for now, what I've noticed about this culture, I really haven't been in it very long, but what I have noticed about this culture is the enjoy it while it lasts attitude. So I will be drinking until I can't stand up.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like we've said before, is this is once in a lifetime opportunity to be at top of the league at this end of the season, 8 points up. I mean, I know we have three tough games coming up, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, but I think that we have a pretty good lead right now, and I'm feeling more confident every week.
Yeah. No, I'm feeling really, really confident too, and we can kind of get into the schedules as we go. Let's go ahead and talk Arsenal. So I am feeling, I don't know about you, Dallas, but I'm feeling extremely, extremely confident. Actually, before I get into that, one second, I want to mention something. I want to shout out Connor, my media guy. He is now my media guy only. I'm just kidding. But he is starting to make these thumbnails, these backdrops. He made the intro for us. We're working on an outro. I just want to shout out Connor. He is an absolute legend. He is making this channel look as professional as one run by me can look. So I really, really appreciate it, Connor. You are an absolute legend. All right, but getting back to Arsenal.
Sure.
I am very, very confident, especially because it doesn't look like we picked up any injuries over the international break. Everybody was freaking out about Partey's quad being all taped up. Looked like he might have hurt his hamstring. I'm not seeing that he's at risk of being out of the lineup. I think we would have heard by now if that were the case. But we should have a full team to go on and take on Leeds United, which it's looking long for them. I mean, they are not a bad side. The problem with them is that they cannot come out of those little onesie twosie 1-0s, 2-1s, 1-goal games on top. If you look at their past results for the entire season, I think they only had one blowout. I was talking with Mr. Tom about this the other day. Mr. Tom, he's on Gary's channel all the time, DWTT. He pointed out to me that Leeds have only lost by like two or more goals against Brentford, and that was once this season. The rest of the time, it's been very, very close. So I still think we're gonna win. And I think we're going to win big just because, but you're also looking at Leeds and they are still in a fight for their life. They are still in a bit of a relegation battle. Those positions from 12 down to 20, anybody could fall. One bad run of form and Leeds could be in trouble. So I think we are still fighting a little bit of a wounded animal, but we should be able to turn them over, to be honest. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this shouldn't be a problem either. I know Tom's going to disagree with me in the comments, but that's okay. I mean, that's what it is, right? He's down for his team, right? I think Leeds as a collective is not a very good team. I think they have maybe 3-4 individual players that can, produce a little magic once in a while. But as a collective, they're not very good. And I know their goal. I don't know their goal ratio and so forth of losing one or this or that. Thanks for that information, TJ. I'm glad you got your encyclopedia with you.
I'm sorry.
No, I love it.
Got to do the research.
I just think that they just have some individual players that can do damage, but they're not good collectively. And I don't think we should have too much trouble with them at home. It should be somewhat of a walk in the park. Another injury that I got a little more fearful over than Partey was Odegaard with the slide tackle from Rodri.
Yeah, what'd you think about that?
I think Rodri should be in prison for 90 days. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And they didn't give him a penalty. And you could tell he was hurting from that. It looked like he got a nice jab in the side or up the thigh or something with his boots. So Rodri can go screw himself as far as I'm concerned. I just I just think that tackles like that, I mean, that was a straight red card. But, but like you said, Party seems okay. Put a wrap around him, you know, give him his Wheaties and let him do what he's got to do. And with Odegaard, we just need to keep him fresh. I think he can dance around the midfield and that defense against Leeds with no real problem. So like you said, I'm looking up for it. I'm looking up for it too. I think we can do them, 2 or 3-0, but I'll give you my prediction Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little more.
Yeah, no, and big up to Luca and Gary who are in the chat, by the way. Thank you so much. Gary, we were just talking about you and your show on Monday. That was scenes. That was so hilarious. You guys are awesome. Tune in to DWDTT Monday nights. That show is absolutely incredible. It has me in stitches every single time. Let's see. Jamino says Rodri's a dirty bastard. He knew what he was doing and he didn't look one bit sorry. Yeah, Rodri always gets away with these dirty tackles. If Xhaka made that tackle, we all know he would have been sent off. Xhaka would have been thrown in jail. They would have locked him up and thrown away the key at this point for repeat offenses. But yeah, I'm not too worried about Leeds. I'll give a way too early prediction. I mean, we're at home. We should beat them 3-0. And that's what I'm going to go with. But you never know. I've been hearing rumors that Nketiah's back healthy. So I'm hoping our dear manager doesn't make any rash decisions by putting Eddie anywhere near the field.
I feel the same way about Rob Holding, but I'm sure he'll be in for Saliba. So
yeah.
I mean, Rob Holding had a good game last time he played. I
don't rate him either, but against middling talent, middling clubs, Rob Holding can do a job. Now when we play Man City, it's looking bad.
That's a different kettle of fish, as Gunner would say.
It's looking very bad.
Yeah, but Holland could be injured at that time as well. I heard he was out for a while. Maybe there's some new news about that. I
heard that too. I want to see if that's real.
Yeah, I don't think that that he's going to be out for that game. If anything, he's going to get himself more prep for that game.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think by that time it's going to matter.
Yeah.
When we beat Leeds.
I googled Holland, and the only thing that I'm seeing is that police have launched an investigation after a newspaper alleged that he was using his mobile phone while driving.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Is that what constitutes news?
Probably so. When there's nothing else to talk about but his incredible goal scoring record so far this season. It's like unreal.
Lock him up and throw away the key for driving and being on his phone.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think go back to Leeds, man. If we could just, I hope Kieran Tierney gets a start too. Because he's going to want to play Zinchenko against City. He's going to want to have Zinchenko come inverted and move up in the middle. I think if we do that against City, it could work, but it could not because Pep's going to know. They're going to be geared up for that game, and so. Maybe against Leeds, we do something a little different. Throw Tierney in, have him on the overlap, looping balls in. I think our 10 of this time has to start using all the players that he has at his disposal, right? I mean, as much as we talk about Kieran Tierney possibly leaving, he's still an Arsenal player. And, through this business end of the season, if he's used more and produces more, hell, why let him go? I always think you need 2 top players in every position anyway. I don't see why we would let him go. It's not like we need the money. What other left backs out there can we bring in that can do what he does and is just, the sort of character and person that he is. So I'd like to see Tierney against Leeds. I think it'd be a good game for him to get a good chunk of time. Maybe bring Zinchenko in the 75th minute or something, just to get his legs warmed up. I'm curious, did Tierney play the Scotland game? Maybe Jaminho knows.
He did. Yeah, put it in the chat because I was seeing that Tierney played his absolute ass off against Spain, and they beat Spain 2-0. Scotland beat Spain 2-0. It was and everybody was saying that he was putting in a great performance. McManus scored 2 goals against Spain.
Yeah, I haven't seen the highlights. I saw the headline. I saw 2-0, and I was pretty stoked for the Scots, but I didn't know he scored goals. But McTominay, let's not even go there. I mean, he's decent, but I mean, come on.
No, I agree. Yeah, I literally. So I'm looking at the Leeds lineup too, just kind of wrapping up the preview around Leeds until we do it for real tomorrow.
Right.
I don't see anybody that can really hurt us. I mean, and you know there's a reason why they call Leeds United Leeds USA, because you got Weston McKennie in the middle, you got Aronson on the right, or in the middle. He can play either position, and then Tyler Adams, but he's injured. So I watched, and I'm not trying to talk crap on our fellow Americans, but I watched that game against El Salvador, and I did a little watch along. If anybody wants to go back and watch, it was kind of funny. They are like middling. McKennie is not going to get any real time in the Premier League, I don't think. He will start. He'll likely start against Arsenal, but I still don't think like he's going to be a Premier League mainstay.
Yeah, it's kind of been. I didn't mean to interrupt you, TJ. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
That's kind of been the pattern with American players. You've probably known for the last 10, 12, 15 years. They have a good turnout in America, right? They'll be on Landon Donovan, case in point.
Mm-hmm.
Has a good turnout, for the American team. And then he goes off to, I believe, Byron Leverkusen when he was pretty young, maybe in his 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And he basically has a fallout with the manager there, doesn't get game time, isn't productive when he gets game time, and then he pisses off from Bayer Leverkusen back to America. And, I have a lot of respect for Landon Donovan, and at the same time, I kind of don't. Because to me, the opportunity to play in Europe, especially in the Bundesliga when you're 19, 20 years old, is an opportunity. Yeah, 3-0.
3-0, baby.
To be in playing the Bundesliga at 19, 20, 21 years old, as an American, I would think that would be quite an achievement, quite an honor. And why you would stick your head between your legs and come back to America is really kind of shocking to me a little bit, TJ. And I think that, he went on to do good things in America, right? He played for the Galaxy, the Earthquakes, and then he spent some time at Everton on loan, which was actually pretty well. And I thought there was a rejuvenation to his career at that time. But then, of course, he takes off back to America again. So it's sort of, I think there's been a real disconnect between American players, especially playing in the Premier League, and trying to make a career of it. A lot of them, even in Europe, Landon Donovan, like I said, is a good case in point, that they have some small success in America, and that success leads them to Europe, where they're just not good enough, right, against European talent.
Yeah, can you name an American other than Tim Howard that has had like a storied Premier League career? I can't.
No.
If somebody in the chat knows,
Clint Dempsey actually, I think would probably be second place, maybe even first, because Clint Dempsey was pretty damn good at Fulham.
Yeah.
And Tim Howard had a good run at Everton, but he was a Man United reject.
Yeah.
So so that tells you something right there, right? It kind of goes with what I'm saying. Is the Americans, they may get on big teams, but it just never really pans out, and it's just because they're not to be a dick or anything, they're just not good enough. And a lot of that is, obviously there's academies all through Europe, which America doesn't have.
Right.
You come to America and it's baseball fields and basketball courts, and then all across Europe and Africa and so forth. And, even down obviously in South America, it's football pitches.
Right. Well,
Right.
and then here's and I don't want to. I don't mean to interrupt, but here's another reason why the United States of America will never thrive at the world level for football is because we also have a big issue called pay to play.
Right.
Our players to play soccer in this country is absolutely insane. The amount of money you have to spend. I mean, and you think, okay, well, it's only some boots, which are going to cost, probably $200-$300 if you're going high end, and then you're going to buy some shin guards and a jersey, and that's it. They pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to get into these camps, and where in these other countries they literally just walk into their backyard and they have people that have played at the world level to be able to, ingratiate them in that culture. That's all they do. Where in America, like you just said, we have American football, we have baseball, we have basketball, we have hockey, we have, you can go on and on and on. So, if anybody, and this is why I kind of temper my expectations for the Americans anywhere in Euro football, is because they just did not grow up in that same culture. I mean, and look at Matt Turner.
Right.
Matt Turner didn't play football until he was in high school. Like he walked onto his high school soccer team and they figured out, oh, he's pretty good. And now he's backing up at Arsenal. Like, just shows you the levels. Shows you the levels.
Yeah, Matt Turner's an exception, right? I mean, I started playing when I was about 7 years old and didn't stop playing until I was about 32, 33 years old. So I just, it's like they have good runs, and I see in the chat, I see Brad Friedel, who's good, Casey Keller, Brian McBride. That's a really good shout out. He was a decent player at Fulham for sure. But at the end though, it's like, are they really, like you said before, are they really that notable? Yeah. I mean, if you're a Fulham fan, I mean, is Brian McBride the guy that jumps on the top of your list? Maybe he is, right? That's cool. I just like, Casey Keller. Yeah. Okay. So we had Casey Keller, Brad Friedel, Tim Howard. You see there's a pattern with goalies, right?
Right.
But outfield players, I mean, we just hit the nail on the head with Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, and Brian McBride. I just don't, and all that, and also with the U.S. team too, TJ, is that there's no real like accountability or fight for places. I don't think.
Nope.
There was times it's like they were playing MLS players over American players that played somewhat consistently in Europe, and so you would think as a coach that, oh, these players are on a good European side, so they're getting that sort of coaching and training, and that's what I would need in a World Cup, right? The coaching and talent is a different. Like I said before, the talent's at different levels, but so is the coaching and the training. What's up,
exactly?
Steve?
What's up, Steve?
So, I just don't. So there's not a lot of hope for U.S. soccer or football because it's kind of a regurgitation of who can we find in the MLS that's a top player? Who can we find in Europe that's a top player? Well, there's not many in Europe to find, right? So all of a sudden it's like the MLS All-Stars versus the world, right? Is what it comes down to in some cases. And McKinney, again, another case, goes to Juventus, does okay, but now he's down at Leeds. Yeah. No disrespect to Leeds, but when you're at Juventus, that's a top European club in the world. I think, second in Champions Leagues compared to Real Madrid?
Exactly.
I mean, you would think that you would take those opportunities and just go with them. I'm sure Winston McKinney did all he could, but I also think some of these players, they're like, well, I can just go play at home. Like why
I
do
think
I
comfort. I really do think comforts from home do have a factor.
For sure, right? And if let's say you're French, you're playing in Italy, you're still close to home,
Yeah.
right? Unlike America compared to Europe, or even if you're playing in New York and your family's in LA, big difference. So, there's something to be said for Winston McKinney too, reaching a top club. But then what happens? Well, there's better players and there's better European talent.
Mm-hmm.
And he just loses his place and he goes right back down the cycle again into the MLS. Well, the Prem, but a developing Prem team.
He's
right?
not going to be in. He's not going to be in the Prem for long. I don't think.
No.
Honestly, and I mean, and he's 20. He's 24. He's 24 years old, so he's not really a prospect anymore.
He's going to end up in the MLS probably.
Yeah,
when
he
he's
will.
26, 27 years old.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's fine, And the thing about MLS, and this is why I don't get too gassed about it, is because MLS is like somewhere between League One and EFL Championship. Like it's that level to where you're either developing or it's a retirement community for like Diego Costa and like who else?
Steven Gerrard, Robbie Keane,
yep.
David Beckham in some cases.
Thierry Henry back 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, he was with the Red Bulls, wasn't he?
He was with the Red Bulls, yeah.
Red Bulls, yeah. It really is kind of saddening because I think also is for young kids, boys and girls growing up in America, they may play football when they're young, right? Because the football moms want them just to go run and kick the ball, Jimmy, and once they stop playing that, it's kind of like, oh, I guess I'm back to baseball, right?
Yeah.
A lot of kids, as youth, we all fall in that group to where we want to be accepted by our buddies and friends, and so we're going to play what they want to play. And the dominant sports, like you said, are basketball, football, and USA football and baseball.
Yep.
So it's really hard to keep, I think, American kids interested in soccer when you have, just so many other bigger sports in America pulling kids out of it.
Yeah. I want to. Hold on one second. Somebody. ESPN was blowing up in my headphones. I got distracted there for a second. I wanted to go back to this this comment from Tony. Big up Tony if you're still in the chat, man. Thanks for coming on and listening in and commenting. Everybody, big up everybody in the chat. Lads, what about Trusty? We signed from USA and he went on loan to Birmingham this season. Got 5 goals from center back. That's good. The thing about Austin Trusty though is he was a brand signing. He's what I like to call a brand signing. Where the Cronkies, he was playing at Colorado Rapids, which is a Cronky-owned sports franchise, and he was signed to Arsenal, transferred to Arsenal within the same organization to get another American in that club. Same with Matt Turner. Matt Turner was MLS's goalkeeper of the year. Matt Turner is an okay goalkeeper. He will never be number 1 at Arsenal. I don't think he'll ever be number 1 for any Premier League team, at least not one that's challenging. But a lot of the time, these Americans that get signed over to these EPL teams are token signings to get an interest in an American fan base.
I believe that.
And that's exactly what Austin Trusty is. And I'm happy that he's doing well at Birmingham. I don't think we'll ever see him start for Arsenal. We'll never see him, or even on the bench for Arsenal. So
right. I mean, he's behind Kiwior, and he's got a lot of development to do.
Yeah.
Austin Trusty, he may get a few cup games, but he's never going to start. He's never going to be a first team player, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't see any other Americans really breaking through a top side. I just don't see it.
Nope.
To be honest, if to me, the country that has probably some of the strongest but most diverse positions is France. They have players coming out of Clairefontaine that are levels above any MLS player from an MLS academy. I know I said we don't have academies, but they're like franchise academies, right? So of course, right. New York City FC has an academy. Portland Timbers does. There's kids that that sign up that come through and that sort of thing, but it isn't Clairefontaine or La Mestalla with 100+ years of history, right? These are developmental type programs that if your kid can kick a ball around and can pass and shoot, hell, sign them up.
Exactly.
My son went to a tryouts for East Side Timbers, right? He was, I think, about 7 or 8 years old. And he was just kind of like, I want to play basketball. So we went on basketball.
Yeah.
Right? He was good enough, but it was a real commitment for us as a family to travel to games, blah, blah, blah. Right? There's a whole other side to it. So, but with that said, again, I'm pulling my son out of the sport, right? So it's just America has a lot of catching up to do. I think if we want to really, really, really compete at the international stage against Spain, France, Italy, England, Portugal, even Ireland, Scotland.
Right.
Like, it's a world of difference.
Yeah, and I'm reading some of these comments. You could compare. Like, I think Ireland and the United States are on the same talent level. I mean, you saw what Scotland did against Spain. The United States doesn't beat Spain.
That would never. I don't. Yeah, there'd be a penalty or some set piece.
The only teams that we can seem to compete against are England. Funny enough, because England's never beaten the United States in international play.
I have heard that. I have heard that. I remember
that
watching the World Cup with Steven
boggles my
Gerrard
mind.
scored against us. I think in the first couple of minutes.
Right. I mean, in that 2010 World Cup where we drew. I mean, it's absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Right. That was the one I was thinking of. 2010.
Yeah.
I just, and again, I don't really watch internet. I watched some of the El Salvador game because I was flipping channels and I was like, oh, we got the lead. Right. But we went out to, let's be realistic though, TJ. We went out to Trinidad and Tobago and we blamed the pitch. That's why we weren't in the World Cup this year. So I know anything out of international American football, the chairman of the board or whatever the hell it is really has no clue what they're talking about. They may have some sort of pedigree in U.S. soccer, but to really change everything, we would need to bring in a Mourinho, Fabio Capello, Zinedine Zidane, which we know is not going to happen. A strong personality.
I'm tired.
Someone with extreme European success to turn this team around.
I am so tired of Americans managing the U.S. men's national team. I am so tired of it. The style of football is so hard to watch. I mean, I was literally sitting on that stream the other night being like, I should have just watched paint dry. I should have done like a video game stream or something, like actually entertain people. It was terrible. And then you did have certain players with a few chances. Reyna had a few chances.
Right.
Pulisic and people want to say like Pulisic is the best America has to offer. If Pulisic is the best America has to offer, we are in trouble.
Yeah.
He couldn't score against El Salvador, and I see all the U.S. fans getting all bigged up because we beat Grenada 7-1.
Right. And I don't play that shit at all. I don't.
It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's stupid, dude. Yeah, it's like Grenada. I mean, I know, and that's kind of like even some of the qualifiers where England has to play the Faroe Islands and all that kind of crap. It's right, and that is that's right down to FIFA and their bylaws and how they sanction the tournaments and stuff. It's bullshit.
It's just unbelievable.
It doesn't prove anything, right? Mm-mm. So we beat Grenada 7-1 and El Salvador 1-0. Big whoop. Right? Yeah. Go beat Spain 2-0. Go do what Scotland did. Go beat Belgium. When we played Belgium, I think in the quarterfinals of the World Cup was it 2014, I think?
Yeah.
I think remember that was right edge to edge, and Tim Howard was in goal.
Tim Howard, 14 saves.
16.
Sorry.
Right, exactly. But if half of those goes in, it's 8-0. So it's like, Right. So you know what I mean? He misses 10 of them. It's 6-0. And this is where the disconnect is. He misses 12 of them. He misses 3 of them, right? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's stupid. And go back and watch highlights of that game. We barely even touched the ball. We had some luck at the end where we scored. I think they scored right away, then we scored, and they scored or something, and they beat us in the end. I don't remember. But it's unwatchable in some cases, right? It's the same, and until the mentality changes for the U.S. overall, we're not going to compete.
Yeah.
We're just not going to compete. So
exactly, and the problem. I already said pay to play, but another thing is the culture, too.
Right.
We don't have a manager that will establish a winning culture, much like Spurs, to be honest.
Sure.
That drama that went on between Berhalter and Reina at the World Cup is embarrassing. And it just shows you where the state of soccer is in the United States of America.
Right.
It's absolutely embarrassing. The mom, literally, we had a soccer mom moment at the highest level of football, where my son isn't getting the time. Well, Reina has some attitude issues. We know this. He had it at Dortmund too. He doesn't play every game for Dortmund. Right. So while he is one of our best players, one of our best prospects or young players, we do really have a huge culture issue within our national team. And until we get that resolved, we're going to continue to only scratch out 1-0 wins with our strongest 11 at El Salvador and eventually start getting piped by the likes of Mexico and Canada. Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, well, you're talking Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David.
Yeah.
Two top players in Europe. I mean, granted, they're both in, I think, the Bundesliga, but, Miles, Jerminho, you're too harsh on your.
You're too hard on your island, my friend. You really are. I would not bet on USA versus Ireland if it ever happened. I would not bet on it.
Yeah, I would definitely take Ireland. If somebody twisted my arm, I had to bet. I would go Ireland 1-0.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. All right. Well, we're gonna if you have any questions for me in Dallas, get them into the chat. We're gonna start wrapping up here in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug a couple of things that we have coming up here on TJ Warren TV tomorrow. Tomorrow is the big day. We at 9:00 UK. We are going to have the weekly American Idiot Show with me and Dallas, the co-host with the most, right to my right here, or to my left, however you want to say it. We are going to have Deji Spurs on, who you may see from the Tony Claude Show and Top 6, and he's been on a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
But he did say that he was going to come on and maybe not defend Spurs, but just talk about them a little bit. We're also going to have Matt, the Southern Gooner. You may know him from Lee Gunner's show. He does a lot of the and Gary's show, Gary's Monday Night Show. He said that he would come on, and he was very enthusiastic about it. He's really excited. So it's probably just going to be us four. I did tell Jez if he wants to come on, he can come on, but I know he's on holiday in France, so he might not be. He might not be coming on. Yeah,
yeah. Big up Jez.
Big up Jez. I'd rather be on.
A shirt on. He looked all clean shaven. And
I'd rather be on a beach. I'd be all right with being on a beach in France. I'm not going to lie.
Worst places you could be for sure.
Worst places for sure. So yeah, tomorrow 9:00 UK, 5:00 Eastern.
Is that Friday?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, or Friday. Sorry, jeez. I keep thinking it's Thursday, dude. Oh,
I wish.
Brutal. Yeah. So 9 p.m. UK Friday night. Tune in. It's going to be a fun one. And then, because I am a glutton for punishment, me and Connor will be doing a watch-along, a Rivals watch-along for the all-important Liverpool-Manchester City game. Anybody who wants to jump on and talk some shit about the Rivals and just hang out with us in the early hours of the morning if you're in the United States, but the early afternoon kickoff in the UK, you are more than welcome to join us. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and then obviously we'll dive into streams after that, before the Arsenal Leeds United game. So that's what we got going
4:30 in the
on.
morning, my time.
Yeah,
Here,
Dallas, I wouldn't expect you to get up for that one.
I might get up and just watch it for the first 15 minutes and say hi to you guys and fall asleep.
Hey, that's
how it
good with
happens.
me.
7
Helps.
a.m. Oh man, no, I don't know. I might have to get up and watch both those.
It's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a
4:30,
good one.
then
And
we go 4:30. Then we go right into the Arsenal game.
Yep, and I think that Liverpool are going to turn in a performance. I have a feeling they're going to be up for that game. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Like if we beat Leeds United, I should say, when we beat Leeds United and Liverpool get a result, can you imagine ending Saturday 10 points clear? At least.
Then it's done. I think Ola said it. If we win this one, he thinks we need 6 games to win.
Mhm.
Shout out Ola.
Shout out Ola. Big
Week
up. The Fight Week show.
I think and I agree with him. He says in 6 games we should win it. That's including this Leeds game. So when we win Saturday, and I really think City Liverpool could be a draw. I really do.
I'm popping champagne at 8 a.m. if there's a draw.
Right. So 6 games for us, including this Leeds game, should wrap it up.
Oh, I can't wait. I really do think. I mean, and the thing that scares me is obviously injuries and Arteta getting cute with the lineup. Dr. Hot Sauce, let's go pop champagne. I'm not there yet.
That's my boy, Dr. Hot Sauce.
Dr. Hot Sauce, we're almost there. Big up, Dr. Hot Sauce.
My guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Is he one of those guys you pop heads up with on Call of Duty or what?
Yeah, I've known Dr. Hot Sauce now for about 3-4 years. That's my guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out West Coast, baby.
Hey, West Coast.
California love.
Exactly.
So, I think we're going to do it, and I do think City and Liverpool are going to draw. You know, if Liverpool win, that's even greater for us, TJ. But, you know, I think both those teams are dying for points, and I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to overrun the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could see a 1-1, 2-2, but I don't think it's going to be like a 3-0, 4-0 blowout for either side.
It really depends on which Liverpool shows up, I think.
Right.
It really depends.
It really depends on their defense for sure. Yeah. Holland's going to be up for it, but we'll see, man. 4:30 in the morning. That's woo.
I just gotta be a good boy on Friday night, and I'll be able to make it work.
Instead of 8 beers, just have 7.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, two whiskeys instead of 3, and we'll be all right.
There you go.
All right. Well, we're gonna start wrapping this up, guys. Thank you so much, everybody who joined. Arsenal Leeds preview. Obviously, we talked about some U.S. national team news as well as Tottenham. Tune in tomorrow again, 9 p.m. We're going to be going over predictions from the last American Idiot Show Friday. Sorry, I keep saying that. Friday, 9 p.m., American Idiot Show episode 4. We're going to be going over predictions from the last game. Last week, we're going to be giving our new predictions. So make sure that you tune in for that so we can get you on our leaderboard. Jaminio, I'm talking to you. And obviously, listen in with the great guests that we have, Matt, the Southern Gooner, and Deji Spurs.
Really great. I love going to Deji. I wind him up so much. I'm ready to be chill because he's in a very depressive state right now. So,
bro, I really like. You gotta big up Cyborg. I see you out there, my brother. You gotta give it to him though. You gotta have a lot of balls to have on your Instagram Arsenal Slayer.
Right.
Cross swords. And I'm like, you know what? This guy will be able to take his lumps though, too, at the same time.
He takes his lumps really well, so I got to give him that. But he is far from a slayer. Sorry, Deji. Not a slayer, bro. We're going to have a verbal combat come Friday.
Yeah. I'm with it. All right, Dallas, tell our friends where we can find you.
You can find me on YouTube at Oregon Goon, on Twitter right there at Oregon Goon HD. Come and say hi.
Yeah, I saw. I stumbled into a Call of Duty stream yesterday, and you guys are serious. I wouldn't go anywhere near you guys.
No, we're definitely serious. My man, Dr. Hot Sauce in the chat.
Dr. Hot Sauce.
That's my guy. He follow him too. Everybody, give him a follow. Like his video. No, we've known each other for a while, and yeah, we take our gaming seriously. No lames.
No lames. No lames. Get good.
Yeah,
All right.
All right, buddy.
All right, buddy. Well, this has been the Arsenal Talk podcast previewing Arsenal Leeds. We will see you Friday at 9 p.m. for the American Idiot Show. Until then, come on, you Gunners, baby.
Let's go.